everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Lift Tower. My name's Charles McGilvray, and as always, I'm joined by Jess and Simon Stacey. We're a fans podcast by fans for fans of Northampton Saints. Going to cover off the Bristol game and get into that, and then, of course, we're going to look ahead to one of the biggest games in Saints history as they once again travel to Dublin for a European semi-final. But first of all, how are you both doing?
Good, thank you.
Good, yeah. Bristol game was a good game, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a bit mad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the score doesn't reflect the actual performance, though. I don't think we were all over and we dominated everything. We just went to sleep for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think the last 5 minutes actually, what it does is elevate, showing you how important Dingwall is. Yeah. You lose a body in midfield because he went off for it wasn't actually a head knock. It was a gum shield alert that took him off. He wasn't actually concussed by the sounds of things, but he comes off, and not only are you losing a body, you're losing the sort of the leader of that defence, aren't you? And it just, for a team like Bears, when they're sort of throwing it around because they've got nothing to lose because the game's gone. I mean, it's inevitable that we're going to put a few points on, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was good. It was a great game, but you leave the ground going, that score is not right. We absolutely hammered them. You look at it, somebody that's just look outside was just like, oh, that was quite a close match. It really wasn't. But like you say, yeah, Dingers, the glue as he's known. That's supposed to be his nickname, shouldn't it? The glue.
Super glue.
Yeah. I hope it was just his gum shield, but that's what I heard it was as well.
Yeah. That's been confirmed. Yeah. We should come up with a nickname like Brander Glue or something like Pritt Stick.
I'd call him a prick stick.
But anyway, who do you reckon stood out? I mean, there was a few obvious ones.
Yeah, Tommy again. He's always on the end of everything. The chosen one, he played well again. He scored again, and I didn't jinx him, so I'm happy with that. He didn't go off injured, so that the jinx is off, so that's good. There was quite a lot, to be fair. I think Miller Mills, considering he wasn't playing, and then he started, he had a great game. Carries, scrum, had Genge on breakfast. Sorry. It was quite a lot of good performances, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few to unpack there. I mean, I think Pollock, to be fair, had one of his quieter games, even though he was still pretty good. He had one of his quieter games, and he still got on the try and still everywhere, and etc. Elliot Miller-Mills was a really interesting one, and that's probably worth covering because they frustrated the hell out of Genge, didn't they? They just didn't they either didn't scrummage and therefore he got done for early driving, or they caught him off guard and got a bit of pressure on him and forced him down, sort of thing. So they sort of managed the ego more than anything, and which is great, bearing in mind we've got the pack we're coming up against next week, which we'll get into. But the fear of going into that without Big Trev, I mean, the performance of Elliot Mills sort of helped, and around the park he was phenomenal. Like really good, as he always is. But at scrum time, we worry a bit, but that sort of alleviates a bit of that, doesn't it, by that performance that he put in?
Yeah, it does. It was funny seeing Genji as well, because I sit just behind the bench and I took a photo of. He went over and spoke to Fergs afterwards. So I reckon he was complaining about something, but I just said he's probably asking him for scrummaging tips because he had no clue on the day.
He is one of those. He is one of those that, like, when he gets frustrated, he just loses his ability. It's not the first time that's happened. If you think about like when they played Gloucester and like Fossogblom was just absolutely dominating him, and then he just got more and more frustrated. So it's one of those things that, like, once you get a couple going your way, you kind of know that Genge just kind of taken himself out of the game a little bit sometimes. Yeah, something was going on with him and Ferguson. It didn't seem like overly aggressive, but there was like an exchange of words, definitely. But I don't know what it was. I don't know.
I think he was actually asking him why we were taking a step back and not taking the hit. Apparently, that's what he was complaining about, saying we were stepping back. So then the ref kept pinging him for early engaging. But
early, yeah.
You do what you need to do, don't you? If you get under his skin, he just gets wound up, and then he ends up throwing his dummy out, and then he ends up getting subbed, and everybody's just waving him off the pitch.
That's all, dark arts of the front row, and
Exactly.
like tricks of the trade, really. And like, and it comes down to a referee and what a referee is more willing to give. If a referee is always going to give early drive because it's an easy get out for them, right? Sometimes you just sort of go into the hit and then just ease off, let them take a few too many steps forward, and then, oh wait, they've got an early drive, so it's your free kick. Certainly it gets doubled up as a penalty. And if suddenly then it reverts round, they think, oh, we're not scrummaging, we're not taking the hit, all right, we better not take the hit, and you just sort of lean in, then all of a sudden, bang, you all go as a team and you drive them off the ball. It's sort of mind games and trying to trick your way out into it. I mean, it's such a different game compared to 20 years ago when they used to have. It was none of this touch and crouch and stuff. It was just full ball. Let's headbutt each other and then see who comes out on top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was good to see actually. The Saints clearly did their research just to see how they could do that to Genji in the front row, because we're normally quite sweet and we don't do anything bad. But I don't say we did anything illegal. We just see how he scrums, and we counteracted that by not letting him do what he normally does. So it was quite clever by Fergs, whoever the analytic team was looking at. But yeah, it was good to see, because our pack was probably a lot lighter than theirs. And we got nearly a penalty or a free kick at every scrum.
Yeah, just well coached, I think. Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's interesting, when you look at the round of the Premiership at the moment and the coaching teams, we are really well set, aren't we? You look at the mess that's happening currently at Exeter, where they've got an incredibly experienced coaching group who have delivered titles, and they're really struggling, and they've both been suspended after the weekend.
Yeah.
And it just shows you sometimes a fresh voice and a fresh. We went through it when Boydie came in. Sometimes you can have a team that's really successful. You've got to keep moving it, and it's sort of how you see how good Ferguson was in terms of that pack and how they well performed against Bristol. But it's taken the decision that we need to freshen the voices up in this coaching group next year proactively before you take that decline. It's fascinating, really. What about you, Jess? Who did you think stood out?
I mean, we have to talk about Mitchell. If he hasn't played if he hasn't played his way into a Lions shirt with that, I don't really know what else there is left for him to do, to be honest. He was so obviously the best player on the pitch, and then didn't play the full thing either. So it's always a kind of a statement performance, especially when is it Thomas Williams, who's also sort of in contention as well. He got his own man of the match performance. So yeah, I think it was really important for him to put that performance in. But you just see how much better we play when he's fit and like fully firing, because he took a while, didn't he? I mean, he had that I'm assuming it was a fairly serious injury. They didn't they couldn't figure it out for a while, could they, the neck injury? And then I think he was a bit slow coming back even when he did come back, but he's back to top form, which is going to be really important, because I've just read that Ferbs is not going to be playing this weekend. He's had a setback with his arm, which I felt like they were kind of trying not to say, but felt kind of obvious, so that's what happened. So having players like that, who are on good form and who can push the team forward will be really important for the weekend. But yeah, he was incredible from like minute one.
Do you think he's borrowed Hendy's legs? Because he's doing all this swaying and waving, and like he was just.
He's always been like that, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's always been kind of a dummy machine, and he always loves that kind of sideways sniping run through the gaps. It's just at the moment he's just doing it better than he's done it for a long time. So I think it kind of stands out. But
I would say, you said best player, I would actually put my hand up there for Colsey. I thought he was outstanding. I think, in my opinion, I know Mitchell does all the flashy stuff, but I thought he was man of the match. He was everywhere.
Yeah, I think he was great. But it's funny that we all got different man of the matches. I thought there was a man possessed playing his best ever game for Saints. Kemeny. I just thought he was outrageously good. He wasn't a luxury. He wasn't around on the wing, waiting for the ball. he was up the guts, right in the middle, carrying, putting hits in, getting over the ball. That's a different animal to what we've seen, I think, a lot of the time this year. He's had great games and everything, but that's the best he's played for us. He was an absolute animal, and so much good that came from our attacking game or our defensive game was built around him. There were tries off the back of him, winning rucks quickly, getting there first, smashing holes in defenses. I just thought that was an all-action performance from him, proper action man. I thought, you just said, Jess, we're losing Ferbs for, we haven't got Ferbs for the weekend, which is an enormous loss, right? But I think there's a couple, Ken Minnie, I also think Mariana Vanua are just sort of peaking, and we're just starting to see the players that we really signed, we wanted to bring, and we're going to need something special, but, we need players peaking at the right time. And I think those two are playing the best rugby they've played in green, black and gold for sure.
I was going to say him as well. But the problem was it looked a bit like A&E on the bench after that game, because Timo had also had ice or something put on his leg, so hopefully that's nothing major. But obviously, Big Trev was down there. Somebody else had something. I can't remember who it was. But we'll just have to put out what we can. But losing Captain Fantastic's not good. But I'm sure Ram had a great game. So
yeah, he did have a good game.
How about that tackle?
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah.
That was right in front of me. I was like, he's done him. He's absolutely done him there. And then he just somehow got a little bit of a spurt, and he just wham, just absolute. Yeah.
He's gonna need the practice, considering who his opposite number's probably going to be, and how fast he is. Maybe he's got to get some practice in for things like that.
Yeah. I mean, we might imagine he could be at fullback, isn't he? But yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, to be fair, their entire backline, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
They're all
those efforts, that effort he made. There was another effort. The winger. Ibitoy. He was running directly across the pitch, and Seabrook sort of chased him down to across the pitch, that and the round. Those efforts, those sort of desperation efforts of giving everything to the very last moment. And I'm not saying that players weren't trying their best and everything, but they weren't there in certain aspects of the season. You look at the Tigers' performance, you look at the Gloucester performance. Those efforts weren't seemingly there from the side. And if you really look at it, if we'd won those two games, we'd be in top four. It's crazy that's how tight it is, really. But it's just that's what it requires, week in, week out, and it's relentless. And they've started towards the end of the season. We're seeing some great efforts. It just seems that this injury list is getting bigger and bigger, isn't it?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do feel like, though, if we put out that team that we put out against Bristol, and I'm not by any stretch of imagination saying we're going to beat Leinster, because I really don't think we will, but I think that still gives us a really good shot at giving it a good go, even with the injury list. Like you said, I think that's probably what has helped lift that performance last weekend, as well as how important that game actually was for what is coming up. And so if they're in that frame of mind for Saturday, which they're going to have to be, no way that you win if you're not, because there's going to need to be some last gasp heroics and things like that, probably to stop what's going to be coming at you. So yeah, it was really good. I think, of course, it's disappointing to give those two tries right at the end, but then, like you said, we had Dingwall go off and nobody came on to replace, did he? And when you've got a man down against an attacking side like Bristol, it almost feels a bit inevitable. And I think it's still testimony to our defence that I thought was so good for essentially 75 minutes until they just couldn't hold out at the end. It was phenomenal. You just think that actually it was so good that those two last-minute tries still didn't really get them anywhere near the win. So I still think it's a testament to kind of how well because we'll need that next week. Like this week we know the attacking threat that Leinster have. So I think they really put in a really good defensive shift against Bristol, who love to score tries. Yeah,
I think tactically we were spot on. We made them play, and then we fed off their overplaying. We played territory like we always do, but we were relentless with it, and it meant that they overplayed. I mean, we ended up having quite a lot of possession in their danger area, and then we converted that to scores because Mitchell was a flame. The amount of times that if we can get 6-7 line outs around the 22 in a game, we're probably going to score 4 tries. We're so good and so clinical around that strike play off a line out in and around the 22. We almost score more from a line out on the 22 than we do on a line out on the 5-meter line, because we're so good at that strike play, and often with Langdon on the wrap or one of the wings coming in. We had a number of them because we forced it, got penalties, and went down there. I thought it was technically we were just excellent around so many things. Around the breakdown, we were so accurate. There was hardly any turnovers because we were so accurate on it. And these are the pieces that putting together what you need to beat Leinster. Bristol are a team on their own self, right? There isn't a team like them that just plays, that just runs and runs and runs, right? They don't kick, they just etc. But to beat Leinster against that knee and bar defence sounds like a chess move, doesn't it? The knee and bar defence, but we're going to need to play down the blind side and then kick long. You just don't let them defend. Don't let them get that in the game. But you have to be clinical and so accurate at the breakdown, and you have to defend really well. And both of those things were excellent against Bristol.
Yeah. It's definitely a positive. It's a positive, definitely, that they were able to play. I mean, we played with insane tempo for essentially 70 minutes, right? And didn't seem to affect us in terms of continuing that momentum, because that's also a key element, isn't it? It's not just about defending and stopping them, you've got to get your points on the board, and we certainly do that better when we're playing at a very, very, very quick pace, and that didn't really seem to let up until sort of later on. Obviously you're going to need to do a full 80 against Leinster, because 10 minutes with, let's say you're ahead by a couple of points in 10 minutes, you're not defending that unless you're not tired. But yeah, I think the fitness of the squad that played, in terms of keeping up with that tempo and being able to deliver that tempo whilst, like you said, quick at the breakdown, quick ball, not letting them get kind of a sniff, is the best chance that we can give ourselves, I think, for Saturday.
Yeah, like I said, quick tempo against, if that defence gets set, you don't play into it. They've got this massive out to win, monstrous defence. You just don't let it get on top of you. You play it by not playing it. You kick territory or you go down the blind side, and if you can get quick ball and they can't set, then you can play against it. But you can't just, if you've got slow ball, they're so good. They are probably the best coach side in the world with Niamh. The difference he's made is sensational. So you got to play them by not playing them sometimes. Don't go in. Don't fall into their trap of trying to front up. Just don't let them get on top. And we traditionally were really good against Sarries, who were very similar. That was the Sarries game plan. We were one of the better sides against it because we knew how to play against them. And you're hoping that knowledge exists still within that coaching group to just get that old dust off that playbook and bring it out, I think.
Yeah, which I was going to say about the Bristol game, is that if you stop their 2 centres, they literally can't score, and I think that's what we did. I can't even remember the Fijian's name. It's Dilwans van Ransberg, isn't it? The one with the big
yeah.
And those 2 are insane players, and we literally nullified them and their winger as well, Ibatoy. They were literally in their face. If you stop those 3, as it showed, we were 48-19 up with 10 minutes to go. That's what I said about the scoreboard. The end result looks insanely different to the actual match, but they obviously did their homework and we stopped them. Just hope they can do that to Leinster. It's totally different gravy, but yeah.
Of course, they scored first again. It's not for the first time this year that we've conceded early, not started the best. But hopefully it doesn't. We can correct that as well, because I think we'd have to have a fast start against Leinster. Last year when we played them, they weren't as good as they are this year. We were better, I think this year we're not quite as good and they're a lot better. And one of the things where they're a lot better is their fitness levels. So when we were coming on strong at the end of both halves, they were dropping off. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think they'll match us pace for pace and fitness wise, because they've got, he's come in and he's made them tackle and run, and it's very nuts and bolts, but it works.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes. It depends who it can take. Because to be fair, I don't want to put anything. Finn he had his leg very badly strapped and he was hobbling again. I know it might just be a natural hobble, but is he adapted? We haven't really got anybody to play 10 if he's not fit.
I think last season he played probably 3/4 of the season with a noticeable limp. And so I don't know if it's just something kind of just happened, maybe, or if maybe. And maybe they're just that the whole reason of the whole strapping is he has to play on Saturday, so let's get the kind of physio stuff on it as soon as possible. So we literally do not have an alternative. DMC still out, Zavala obviously now out, Hutchison you could, but this is nothing against him, but you aren't beating Leinster with Hutchison at 10. Realistically, his best position is and always has been one of the centres. So yeah, I think without Finn, I don't even think you should even think about winning.
The thing, we literally don't have a fit. If we don't have Finn, we don't have a fit 10. It's European semi-final.
And that's, you would then put Rory there. That's all you'd have.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah.
You could put Vesti there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the greatest story of all time? Yeah, okay. Is there anything else? The only other thing I can think of to cover off for the Bristol game was, of course, it was the 700th appearance for one of the club greats, Kit Mankev.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy amount of time. It's
like
20 years, isn't it?
20. I think he's 21 years he's been doing it.
Yeah.
He said that I heard him on the radio, I think in the week beforehand, and he said he's lasted a bit longer than the guy who started the same day as him back in 2004, Alan Solomons.
Yes.
He outlasted him a lot more and probably contributed a lot more as well.
Yeah. That's what Lenny said, didn't he? He said it was his greatest ever signing. It's Kit Mankev.
Yeah.
700 games is a lot. There's a lot of games to cover in it.
Hell of a servant. That's Hall of Fame. That isn't it? That's 100%. He's got to go in there. Do you see him on social media when they were doing the song afterwards with him in the
the bucket.
trolley? Yeah. And then Dawson poured a beer over his head.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, it's a great servant to the club. And yeah, hopefully continues on for a lot longer.
Yeah.
There's a there seems to be a very, very good rapport between him and everyone by the looks of it. So
he's very strict though, isn't he? He literally, all the players, if you ever ask the players about kit, they're like, oh no, I can't. Kev's already given me 3, I can't get any more. He's like literally like so strict with his kit supplies.
I think it's probably got to be linked as well to kind of the money that costs the team as well. So I think there's now a limit on the number of shirts each of them have per season or something like that, because if you're giving it away every single game, everyone's giving those away every single game.
3 shirts.
Well, no,
it's 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, but it's 3 shirts, each of one of each kit. So he said on the radio they have a shirt for the year. They have an away shirt, a home shirt, and a European shirt, because obviously the Europeans got different stickers on it. That's all they get, but per number. So, like if Coles plays 4 or 5, they'll have a 4 and they'll have a 5.
Yeah.
But if the kit gets damaged, do they get another kit?
Yeah.
It's crazy, really. If you think you look at other sports, but football and whatnot, and then international rugby when they're changing the shirts at the end and they get 2 a game, so they get 2, and then. At Northampton level, no, that's your shirt for the season. It's not much different to playing at a local rugby club.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
But on to possibly once again, one of the biggest games in the club's history. I mean, semi-final in Europe, including South Africa, away in Dublin. I mean, what a task that's going to be. What an opportunity for the players.
Against Ireland in the Irish National Stadium. Yeah, sounds really fair, that, doesn't it?
I mean, like I said, I think it's better than Ireland. So Ireland with a better coaching structure, and also a Barrett and a Snyman and similarly.
Yeah.
Two world-class tight ends,
Yeah. I always hate to kind of say that we don't have a chance, but it's small.
We've done it before. I was there when we beat them before, so we've done it before. It's
I felt
now, I know. But...
I think it's a bit, I think that was like, it was like a week after they'd hammered us, wasn't it? So you were still kind of riding the emotion of they gave us an absolute, hiding, and we want to get them back. And yes, I suppose we still have the emotion from like last year in the semi-final, but so do they, because they lost a final. That's the third final they'd lost in a row. So they're going to be probably more up for it than they've ever been. Not that obviously they've won it before, but to lose 3 finals in a row, I should imagine that is a very, very strong motivator for them this year. And I just think they are, even over the French teams, I think they're far and away the best performing side that in the tournament this year. But also, I would question what actually happens if you put them under pressure, because I know they put some massive scores on 2 teams 2 weeks in a row, but neither of those teams put up any real fight, and I think we will do that. And so I think we're in a good position to kind of test them and see what happens. But I feel like if I'm being sort of honest to my head rather than my heart, it's not gonna it probably isn't gonna happen. But I hope, I'm still going. I'm still gonna be there. Still gonna see what happens. But
I said to Jess, I was going to say, this is the season game, though, isn't it? This is the season. We can't finish any lower than 8th now, so we're fine. So this is it. This is win or bust, basically, for the season to get any success. So they're going to go for it full out. And you never know. You never know. They might be a bit sleepy on the day, and we've got world-class players as well. We just haven't got as many as they have.
Yeah, I think what might benefit us is obviously the experience of our England contingent that beat their Ireland contingent. Like, the team is slightly different, but there are still some matches in there that our actual Saints players, when they were England players, came out on top of. I think that benefits us, and we didn't actually have that last year, did we? Because at that point, it was more winning the season that catapulted a lot of Saints lads sort of into the England squad. So they didn't have. So actually, I feel like they're carrying more. Yes, perhaps we're not playing as well, but we're bringing more experience in from last year, from both the domestic level, because we played them last year, but also from the kind of international level. Like they know a lot of those players and the way that they play and how to shut them down. They have actual experience of having done that, having won a game against them. And so that potentially is the kind of thing that elevates us up. Consider, I said we're not playing as well as last year. Maybe that's the kind of bit that brings us up to that kind of level, is simply just the kind of experience that we have versus last year. But there's some key things, like we absolutely cannot. It's not that you can't let them score first necessarily. It's just you can't let them score first within like the first couple of minutes. You can't let them get a fast start against you, because you're just immediately on the back foot. Like that wasn't the case against Bristol in the end, but Leinster are a very different beast. So there are some real key things that they've got to do. You've got to play the full 80, and you've got to be as on top of your game as you can be for that whole time. And if we can string together something similar to last week in terms of, like you said, the technical side of it and the pace side of it, I think we'll give it a really, really good go. And that would be great. I just feel like, in my mind, the win is not getting absolutely hammered.
You never know, they might power the team they played Scarlets, and then we should be.
They seem to be the only team I can really think of where they regularly rest. And quite often rest those big players and don't play them in the URC, and yet that doesn't seem to affect their ability when that team gets out on the pitch. It's bizarre, because I don't think there's that many teams that can say that when you rest almost 15 people. That's why we said, didn't we? Like, we've got to play strong against Bristol, because we won't be ready for it if we don't. And that's probably the same for most teams, except it seems Leinster.
Yeah, they sort of have consistently those players available, and they play them when it's right for them, and they come off of the Six Nations, and they can just drip feed them back in and get them ready for the next European game, because that's their priority, and they're their second string team can quite comfortably win the URC. Not that they have, that's the thing. They haven't been winning those tournaments. So,
yeah,
like you said, I think it's a detriment to Ireland to some extent is the fact that this Leinster team is the URC, plays in Champions Cup, and they don't get put under pressure. A lot of their players don't get put under pressure because they're in these dominant sides. And so when you get to international level and England put Ireland under pressure, they didn't have an answer because they didn't have the levels to go through because they're so used to just rocking up, putting a 6 out of 10 in and winning. Because 6 out of 10 for a lot of that squad is a very high standard. I think the difference is they are a better side than they were last year, and I think all our players are better, but we're just missing a few bodies that made the difference. And then you take away Ferbs, who is probably our most key player. You take away, someone like Pearson, who even if he wasn't starting, is a phenomenal player off the bench. Potentially Odendahl, that makes a massive difference in our ability to get over the game line, especially when their defence is getting on top. You can't give it to Odendahl and go, right, go just hit the game line and we'll go again. If they get hold of some of our other centres, who's probably going to play, it's probably going to be Dingers and Harch. They're just some lighter chaps, and if they get hold of them, they're more than likely to lose ground rather than if they're taking the ball, not going forward, etc. So, like I said, we have to go with the basis of playing a game plan that we think is going to win. It's not a case of playing our game, or a case of let's meet them at the challenge and trying to go up the guts through the middle. We've got to go with that plan that we know works, like the likes of Saracens back in the day, and try and pull off a miracle. And it is literally, it would be the biggest achievement ever, I think, if we could do it.
Yeah,
they are beatable though. It was all the doom and gloom. They are beatable. I know what you're saying. They're like this amazing team, but you saw Ireland in the Six Nations. They weren't all that. And if you get a game plan, if we do a game plan, there is a slight chance. I'm going to have a little bit of positivity.
Yeah.
You never
miracles can happen, can't they? Miracles can happen. And
I don't think it's. I'm not saying it's like impossible.
All this talk of them losing finals, well, they've got to win a semi-final first.
Exactly.
So they can look at the final. They can have all that chat about finals if they want. They haven't got there yet.
No, like Mitchell, I didn't read it all, but he's come out and said we're not an easy team to beat, and if we can play our game, let's see what we can do. And he's right, and he's in literally the form of his life. I don't think he's always quality, but I don't think I've seen him score the tries and set up the tries he's done the last few weeks. It's been insane. If he isn't on that Lions plane, I don't know what they're looking at, because what's his name was there? Easterby was there watching, wasn't he? Yeah. So yeah, he's got to be. And this could be literally. It could be, if we beat them, this could be the scrum half of the Lions interview, because it's Gibson Park versus Mitchell, and they're the two best Lions at the minute. I don't think there's anybody else in contention. I wouldn't say anyway.
Not for the jersey, no.
No, I think they'll take 3 probably. So I think Thomas Williams will go. And I think, to be honest, I actually honestly think no matter what happens, whether we win or not, or Mitchell plays better or not, I still think they're going to go for Gibson Park as their starter. But I always thought, I said this kind of weeks and weeks ago, like Mitchell was always a shoe-in to go because he's easily the second best behind Gibson Park.
Yeah,
I've always thought that.
I'd back Mitchell, to be fair. I think Gibson Park's very consistent, but it's very easy to be consistent in that Ireland side. They're very well structured. They're a very structured side. They've got a very settled, strong pack. It's a bit of an armchair ride for him sometimes. Mitchell playing behind, an England pack, sometimes that's not been the best, or a Saints pack that is generally lighter and different sort of team. Packed to a lot of other packs. He has to work on the back foot a bit more, and he still makes magic happen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if once they get on the tour and it's a direct head-to-head, if Mitchell gets past Gibson Park for that jersey, because the man's magic. So
I'd love to see it. I just don't think so.
Yeah,
I would obviously pick him, but I don't think so. I think that's probably not what will happen. But then also, he's still going to go and he's still going to probably play in Lions matches, right? And he's still going to be he's not going to be the one that only does the midweek ones. At the minimum, he'll be the bench player and he will come on and play tests, right? So it's still fantastic. I think at the moment we've probably got 3 players from Saints that are most likely going, and that's a pretty awesome thing to say.
I reckon 4 with I reckon Ferbs if he's fit.
No, I don't think Ferbs.
I think the arm setback has pushed him out.
Yeah, I think the arm setback is. I think he needed to be playing in this match, and he needed to be playing well. But no, what you got? Mitchell, Finn, Fremo, and the chosen one.
Oh yeah, I'll forget him.
The reason I say 3 is for me, like Finn, Mitch, and Fremo are definitely going. Right, I'd be absolutely flabbergasted if they weren't. I think they've easily played their way into going. I'm not saying Pollock isn't going to go, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's a 100% definite chance. Hence why the 3. But I wouldn't be surprised either.
Well, you remember the conversation back pre-Six Nations where he wasn't even in the England setup, and I am not going to say I was the only one that said he'll get an England start, and now he's rumoured to be a bloody lion. It's insane.
Yeah,
he's so up there. It's just mental.
You'd want shares in him, wouldn't you?
Oh God, yeah.
I'm also going to claim 5 because I reckon Courtney Laws will go. And come on, let's face it, he's still a Saint. So
I think Courtney. I think he'll go. And he said before he left, didn't he? He said that like he's essentially wants to do the Lions, and then that's probably about it.
I think there's a lot of matchups across the park whereby it is, like you say, Simon, a bit of a Lion showdown, and that can only be. I think that can only be good for Saints because it's a bit of a free shot to some extent. Like there's almost quite a lot of pressure on Leinster from that basis. Like they're so expected to win. People are talking about whether they're going to win the final or not. Well, it's a lot of mindset they've got to get through, I think. And if going through the side, Van der Fleer versus Pollock. I mean, Pollock is on such a hot run of form. Would you put it past him? Just like absolutely dominating, making a big performance, and maybe not in a winning side, whatever, but getting the upper hand there. He's just built for the big occasion, isn't he?
I don't think he'll be scared of it. I don't even think that will factor even into his head because I don't think it ever does. I don't think his brain works in the way of thinking like I am scared of this person or this person is gonna. I just don't think he works like that. And so I don't think that will affect it. It'll be interesting what their play is because if they've done their research, they'll probably have seen that people have constantly tried to rile him up, and all it does is dial the notch up. Yeah, I feel like it actually makes him better. So it'll be interesting whether they target him specifically or if they don't. And that kind of tells you quite a lot, I suppose, about how they see him. Because you'd assume that they would target him, but I also can't help but think that like it's almost like for them the worst thing they can do, and for us a really good thing that they can do because it just seems to elevate him somehow because all of the teams that we can think of over the past, particularly the European ones, particularly when we think about Cast, they tried it so hard and you could tell it was fully to their detriment. Like, I mean, the way he played in that game, and they started pretty much from minute 1. And you'd have thought at half time maybe the coach would have been like, yeah, let's stop doing this to this young lad because it's actually making it worse. But they didn't seem to get that memo. And that was like a genuine like masterclass in sort of how to just completely rise above what other teams are trying and actually use it to spur you on. So yeah, it'll be really interesting what their tactics are from that. Because like you said, he's like 20. So your immediate instinct is target the young, inexperienced one. But he's not your typical young, inexperienced one.
He's definitely not your typical, but he's definitely not typical. That's true. I think what's going to be really key from him in this game isn't going to be the getting on the end and scoring tries and breaking. It's going to be his ability at the breakdown to get turnovers. I think if he leaves that game with 3 turnovers, then Saints, that could be really key because, I think if we play territory, put them under pressure, and he gets turnovers, and that leads to points, that'll keep us in the game. That'll get us into the game. I think, he's got the ability, so good at getting over the ball. It's one of our best opportunities to really strike into the match and get involved by getting those turnovers. And like Kenmany was all over it against Bristol. If we get him and Pollock really in that breakdown, really competing, then I think that's a foothold. That's something we can build on. Like I said, I think we're going to do a lot of work without the ball, and Pollock's the sort of special character that could shine without the ball. The other matches, obviously, you said about Mitchell and Gibson Park. Finn versus Prendergast.
Nah. He wouldn't even. I wouldn't even take him if I'm honest. It's Finn Russell's the starting, isn't he? Finn Russell's the starting 10 for the Lions. I reckon our Finn will be the backup. I don't know who the other 10 would be, but
I think there might be a shock at 10 with Sexton on tour. I think there might be a surprise around Finn Russell. I think you might get Owen Farrell involved.
I was thinking Owen Farrell, yeah.
And I think you might get Finn Smith involved, and then you might get an Irish 10. I think there could be a real shock there.
No, I can't see them not taking Finn Russell at the moment with the sort of the way he's playing. I think he'll go, and I think it'll be the two Finns, and then it will be the question as to who, because I'm assuming they'll probably take 10. They tend to do that for the 9 and 10 positions because of their sort of specialism and their importance. So I think the question will be who that third one is, and yet there's a few names, to be honest, in contention. Prendergast is an odd one because he'll have a game where he's absolutely awful, and then a game where you just think this kid is insanely talented.
It comes with youth.
Yeah,
comes
exactly.
with youth, doesn't it? Inconsistency comes with youth.
So I wonder if there's a part of them that might think that we'll take the experience of like a Farrell instead of. But yeah, I'd be surprised if Russell didn't go. At the moment, like, him and particularly as like Bath are playing really well as well, and he's a key component of that. He's kind of at the moment he's got the shirt, and it's just a push for everyone else. Because I'm assuming because Bath at the moment seem, maybe except Sale, seem the pretty solid favourites to win the Prem, and especially depends. Well, I mean, to be honest, it's all chosen before then, isn't it? That's the thing. It's chosen by May 8th. The announcement or something, is it?
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Finn Smith did like his Mount Rushmore of 10s, and he said it was Johnny Wilkinson, Dan Carter, Finn Russell, and he went with Farrell. He said the last one he wasn't sure who to pick. So he said I'm going to get battered because I'm young, because I'll go with Farrell. So that's who he put as his top 4 10s.
I just think, Johnny Sexton is going on tour as a consultant. I think he's basically the kicking coach replacing Neil Jenkins, right? But he has had quite some detrimental things to say about Finn Russell in the past, about he's all show and he's not all this, right? So if he truly believes that, that's just very interesting. That might be something that is a bit of a shock, but Finn Russell, in my opinion, is the best 10 in the world. He should 100% go, but you've got to look at this coaching group and what they're going to be doing and what they want. And I think they're quite a serious group, and whether Finn works in that environment, I don't know. It'll be very interesting, I think
those comments maybe would have stood a few years ago, but I feel like he's really turned a corner in terms of those kind of aspects that were making. That were essentially causing him trouble, right? Like he wasn't being selected because it was causing trouble, and he seems to have kind of hit the kind of level of, right, I've actually got to kind of settle in and settle down and crack on, and so I appreciate certainly that Sex has probably had things to say about him in the past, but I think it's a different Finn Russell in the last sort of 2 seasons in particular. I mean, it's interesting. Perhaps. It's definitely interesting, but I'd be genuinely surprised if he doesn't go. But who knows? There's always a couple of shocks in there, isn't there? So
he just does stuff so effortlessly, though. That's the thing. He doesn't even need to be fit, and he can ping a pass out that no one else could do. If you didn't take Finn Russell, I just can't. I can't not see it. He'd be one of the first on the team sheet, surely.
He is phenomenally talented. There's no doubt about that. But back to the game of the weekend, the other sort of Lions matchup potentially would be Fremo and Lowe. They're both 100% line contenders. They could be the 2 starting wings for the Lions. And the only thing I'd say is, we can talk about selection now, and we've got a number of injuries, and fullback and wing becoming really light, and with Odendell probably out as well, it's like, well, do you take the risk and play Hutchinson at fullback, put Fremo into the centre?
No.
No.
I feel like I should
I think he's going on
qualify that.
and then Ram on the wing.
Ram on the wing.
Seabrook.
Probably have to be Seabrook, yeah. Or Glister. I mean, Glister's was,
I would leave it exactly as it was, as we already played, to be honest with you. Just because of yes, I've always said that that Freeman's best position is centre, but we've also seen how he's been playing on the wing, and he's just, at the moment, because he's just in an absolutely insane rich vein of form, he seems to just be able to do anything anywhere. So no, I think it's nothing against Hutchison. I just feel that moving Hutchison to fullback so that Fremo can be centre is still more detrimental. Even if you get Fremo at his best, you don't get Hutch at his best. And the 15 is going to be a key position, right? Because you've got to assume they're going to be kicking for territory. They're going to try and exert pressure. I just think you have to have James Ram, just because of his abilities there, really.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's just, defensively, from a attack line defensively, having Fremo in there, I think adds more. Hutchinson has worked tremendously well on his defence, and it's so much better than it was, and he's a good defender. But Fremo is quality, and so, and then when you're with the ball, I think that's almost the best makeup, having that extra ball player. It's just because maybe they're thinking they have to roll the dice a bit and do something different. Because I mean, what's the back line going to be without Odendell? It's going to be Mitchell, Finn, Dingwall, Hutchinson, Fremo, Ram at the back, and Seabrook on the wing. Do you reckon that's probably the lineup?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah,
unless Glister's edged ahead.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is it though? I don't think either of them. Glister hasn't played enough, and I'm not sure Seabrook's been at the sort of level that we require at the moment, that we're required to beat them. And so I think you just keep that team as it was. Honestly, the team that have now played and won a really good match in that position, and have kind of they're used to that position. I just feel like moving things around isn't the best move. But yeah,
we had what's his name on the wing, didn't we? I forget his name. That's the centre, young centre.
Litchfield.
That's right on the wing.
Litchfield.
That's what I was trying to think. I was like, surely. I was trying to think. Nobody. I knew it was. I knew both Litchfield and Glister was on the wing. So I was thinking, Seabrook and Glister on the wing. So I was thinking, who was on the wing? Yeah, Seabrook. So all right, well, maybe Litchfield plays in the centre.
Maybe.
Hutch at fullback.
I think it's way too much of a. And we all know that we all love Rory, right? I think he's a phenomenal centre. I just think that could almost be a game loser, not having Ram at your 15, to be honest with you.
It depends how the game goes, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
if you're on top and you're playing with the ball, if you're not with the ball and there's lots of box kicks, Ram's the man you want. But giving Hutchinson a bit of ability to come up into the attack from a deep, play out the back to allow you to possibly go around that defense. Having someone of his ability to move the ball in the backfield from attack, it gives you the ability to get around that attack. We can move the ball left to right quicker because you've got that extra ball player in the midfield.
Yeah, I just think if you do move him, you're moving 3 players out of their current good position, their best positions. Obviously, Fremo's been on the wing for England, and he's just been world class, and he's going to start the Lions on the wing. And obviously, Ram's the fullback. We know he's the fullback, and then Rory's their centre. If you switch them all around, I think you're just taking away a little bit of what they're good at.
Yeah,
I know Ram. I know Ram can play.
And I do think they'll as well. Like, they love to play with ball, right? Obviously, they're a really good attacking side, but I do think there is going to be a lot of kicking, a lot of trying to push us back, because I think they probably think that we're a threat, because we are a threat, right, in terms of scoring, certainly. And I just think that you've got to have your best and that normally it would be Ferbs, right? Like in terms of like but I think Ram's a very close kind of very, very good alternative. So yeah, if it was me personally, I wouldn't touch the side at all from literally from 1 to 15, because like you said, assuming that we're not going to have, because I know there's this thing about Big Trev having a tight calf, but then in the end it was in a big boot at the end, so that's it. I'm guessing that's it, him done for the, considering how little time is left.
Yeah, it was in one of those, like, those sort of
the grey.
But at the end. But before that, it was in one of those things where it sort of massages and keeps warm.
Yeah.
Infrared therapy thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So they said tight calf, so I suppose it just depends on the severity.
I mean, maybe it was. Maybe that's what they thought originally, but it just felt the fact that they put him in one of those big, I think they're called like moon boots or something, aren't they? At the end, felt like it was perhaps a bit more than that. But or maybe it may just simply be protection, right? It could literally just be we need him for next week, so it's just extra padding and protection, possibly. It's just normally you see someone put one of those big boots on, you think, oh, here we go.
Yeah. I mean, at least it wasn't, they weren't saying it was his ankle or a foot or something. Yeah. It was a calf, is what they said, or not an Achilles or anything like that.
And probably the worst part for a prop, though. That's literally where he pushes from his calf.
Yeah. Any leg industry for a tight pop's pretty intense, isn't it? Yeah.
Go back to Fremo as well. He's probably going to be up against Lowe, isn't he? I think I'd rather have Fremo against Lowe, who's pretty decent at tackling, because that boy just scores tries for fun. So.
Yeah, but also I would say defensively, Rambo is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to match up, Rambo would have just as good a chance. Him in that 14 jersey up against Lowe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could also go, well, how about have Litchfield in the centres and have, Ram and Fremo on the wings and then have Hutch at fullback. I'm just throwing out that. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for it, right? But let's move on. In terms of selection, I think, we've pretty much covered it. The side there isn't many options for them because of the number of injuries, You just think how exciting it would be to go to Dublin with a Ferbs, a Hendy, a Slytone, Graham, Pearson, and really have a good, really chuck the kitchen sink at them. But it's a shame, but it is what it is, Let's pray for the miracle and expect the best. And I told Jess at the weekend that they're 100% going to win because I'm not going. So it's inevitable that Saints will in fact win. Unfortunately, I can't get out there. So yeah, it's inevitable that they'll win. After that performance last year where we almost won and it was heartbreaking, they'll definitely win now that I'm not there. But another thing to point out is another French ref as well.
Yeah.
Should we just leave that?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Should we just leave that? Yeah. Let's not touch that subject.
And if we haven't got that one we had, who was he? Where was he from? I've forgotten that one we had that was made his own rules up. Was he from Portugal?
Italian, I think.
He wasn't Italian.
Which game?
The Clermont game, wasn't it? Or was it the Castro?
Yeah, he's Italian. It was Piardi, wasn't
Italian.
it?
Yeah, God, he was bloody.
He then the next week in the Munster game, made them go down to 13 men when they shouldn't have, and then his excuse was, "There's too many laws,"
Yeah. You're a ref, you know what I mean?
But anyway, let's just leave that where it is. Predictions, right? Predictions. So last week, it was another dead heat. We need to start get another way of determining dead heat.
I'm happy. I got a point. I don't care it was dead heat. I actually finally got a point. It didn't mean anything, but I still got a point.
We all got 2 points. So we all got the result right, and we all got a try scorer because there was so many.
Try scorer. I was so happy when Alex went over first. I was like, result.
I screamed when Pollock did. I was like, just get me a try point. I know Jess just score me a point.
At one point, I was thinking, I can't believe it. Fremo's not going to get one. That's not a thing, is it? But he obviously did. Yeah, well, that Mitchell set him up phenomenal. What a phenomenal try that was, by the way. Just created a one-on-one with that, kept popping up the ruck, created a one-on-one, gave it to Fremo. Can't be stopped. You can't stop Fremo one-on-one that close to the line. He's unplayable at the moment. We really need him this weekend. But sorry, what are we thinking prediction-wise?
I have no idea.
Do you want to go first, Si, then?
I've no idea. Okay, I'll put it out there. I'll go 35-24. I want us to win, but I just can't. Unfortunately, I can't see it. If I go first, I'm gonna nick him. Freeman.
It was inevitable. Someone was going to do that eventually.
He won't score now though because I jinxed him.
Go on, Jess.
No, I've already made it. We're not going to win, but I'm not going to say that for my prediction because I never do, and I am steadfastly sticking to that rule. So I'm going to go. 28. No, sorry. Yeah, no, 26-28. I always do them the wrong way around, and I keep remembering that Leinster are the home. Leinster are the home side technically. So 26-28. Oh, try scorer. I feel like I want to just pick someone different for the fun. Well, I've talked loads about him, so I'm just going to say Rory in whatever position he's in. I'm backing.
That'd be class if he did. Starting at fullback, scoring the winning try. Yeah,
I'm backing him this week.
I'm going to go 21, 15. Oh no, sorry, other way around. 15-21.
We always forget this.
Yeah, 15-21. I mean, yeah, that's very much with my heart, a little bit with my head. If the miracle is pulled off, I think it'll be something like that. I think we'll score 3 and we'll keep them out, but we'll sort of shock them and they might struggle to deal with what we have to offer. I think if we win, it's low scoring. I don't think it's an end-to-end fixture. I think we go with a plan and we pull it off. And seeing as Freema, I can't pick Freema. I'm going to have to go with the chosen one, aren't I? to get the winner, and just sort of cement his position as the captain of the Lions.
Wow,
that's inevitable. He's on such a trajectory that's the inevitable going to happen, isn't it?
It's going to be an Irishman, isn't it?
Captain at 20. Wow.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I'm tongue in cheek. I don't think that's happening, but I think he's going. I think he's going to outplay Van der Fleer.
Am I the only one that?
Am I mixing Van der Fleer up?
Sorry, after all of that chat of saying we're going to get hammered, we're not going to need a miracle. You've both gone for a Saints win.
I believe in miracles, man.
Only because I can't possibly not. But I think we've got about a 10% chance.
I can't normally, but I'm just being a realist. We're supposed to be level. We're doing a podcast that's like.
Nah, it's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast about Saints at the end of the day, isn't it?
It's at the very beginning. It's by Saints fans. It's inherently biased. We obviously give our opinions, but it's inherently biased towards Saints. And I mean, yeah, obviously my head's saying it's a task too far, and we haven't really seen that they've got it in them this year, right? But it just makes the story all the better, doesn't it?
Of course, I want us to win, and I never back us against us. But
sometimes you've got to believe in fairy tales, mate.
You know me. I never back against the Saints, but this just seems a tiny step too far. You're playing Ireland. You're playing Ireland with an All Black and a South African inside. It's insane. Yeah. And we've got about 3 or 4 players missing. So I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just trying to be
I think it is. You are being a realistic, and I think for the boys to go over there and just do the club proud is what we want, and that's the minimum. I think if we can go out there and have a shot, I think if it's like the last 2 rounds and we don't get a point on the board, and that we get well and truly hiding, I mean, it will be a very sorry end to ultimately disappointing season. But. We've got to believe. We've got to believe.
Just so the boys, if any of them listen to this, they should know. You won't meet a more passionate and Saints fan than me, but I'm just trying to be realistic here. I've got to say it. I've been going for nearly 40 years, and I've just got to think. I want them to win, but I'm just to get some points. I'm trying to be real.
Yeah. We get it. I agree with you. Your prediction is probably biased in itself. It's probably closer than a realistic result is. Yeah. But I think we can end on the fact that sometimes you've just got to believe in miracles. Right. And so, yeah, hope everyone at home, please start praying. Please start believing in miracles like Peter Pan. I'm sure we can pull this off. So thanks for listening. I've been Charles. Jess has been Jess. Simon's been Simon. Come on, you saints.
Goodbye.
Bye.